Good evening and welcome to ATV News. I'm Charity Pepzani with your top stories this Thursday. Firstly, tonight, the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission says it cannot guarantee that voters' roll will not contain names of dead people ahead of next year's elections. Election monitors and opposition parties have condemned the voters' roll for not being updated. The ZEC Deputy Chair, Joyce Kazembe, has blamed the farce on the lack of computerized birth and death records. She said the Registrar's General Office only removes people from the roll when there is documentary evidence confirming a death, and this is not happening, particularly in rural areas. Last year, the Independent Zimbabwe Election Support Network said that such anomalies opened way for double voting and other rigging intentions. The group found that over 2,000 voters between the ages of 101 and 110 were still on the voters' roll when the life expectancy in Zimbabwe is just 44. Staying in Zimbabwe, it has emerged that an angry husband beat his wife to death with a knob carry. Sebastian Sotero of Marlborough accused his wife, Reni Jakasi, of having an affair and then struck her several times, killing her. Mr. Sotero was charged with murder and remanded in custody until the 12th of December. It was alleged that after marrying earlier this year, Sotero accused Jakasi of seeing other men. Then on September 29th at around 3 a.m., Sotero awakened Jakasi and started assaulting her with a knob curry. After killing her, Sotero burnt the blood-stained clothes and the knob curry before fleeing the scene. The matter came to light when a neighbor heard Jakasi's 3-year-old daughter crying and found the woman lying dead on the floor. Sotero was arrested on November 26 and confirmed to killing his wife. There was an uproar in Lusaka's Matero township after a husband was allegedly caught having sex with a prostitute. The man, who remained anonymous, is reported to have taken the sex worker into his family home. As Movi TV reports, an angry mob gathered looking for the prostitute.
Sometimes, one's wages of sin can land into embarrassing situations like this woman's nakedness has been exposed in front of this crowd. One would mistake her for a person preparing to take a shower, not knowing that she has been caught pants down in the business of prostitution with a married man in full view of his wife and children. A named man and a clinical officer by profession of Lusaka's Matero area is believed to have sneaked a sex worker into his matrimonial house late at midnight while his wife and children were asleep. It is from this point that the two were caught in the spare bedroom having sex before the man fled his house. In her nakedness state, she has denied having had sex. No cartridges of condoms were traced in the house despite the nakedness state of this woman. The incident attracted so many people who searched any possible way through into the house.
Mwamena wakambira nizoona isebamuna timalakwa isebamuna tumachira bintu mambiri bati wose bati uli na bana bakulu pa nyumba bakazi na mbona osaleta muntu olomozi pa nyumba yayi. This is a lesson to all married people. Married honestly.
It took so much vigilance from a few people to whisk away the sex worker as this angry mob was patiently waiting to pounce on her. Anton Chomba, Movie TV News in Lusaka.
The Russian ambassador to Zambia has died at the age of 59. Boris Malakov died an hour after receiving a coronary artery bypass surgery at Pretoria Zuid-Afrikaans Hospital in South Africa. He was appointed as Russia's ambassador to Zambia in 2008. Boris Malakov, a graduate at Moscow State Institute of International Relations in 1975, was employed by the Foreign Ministry the same year. Russia is one of the countries that has contributed to the development of Zambia through investment education scholarships. About 100 Zambian youths receive scholarships from the Russian government yearly. Malakov is survived by a wife and a daughter. A few weeks ago, we told you about a new play called The Coup that is touring Zimbabwe. The play, written by Stanley Makuwe, is about a group of dead bodies crammed in a broken-down hospital mortuary who decide to rise up and approach the country's leaders to demand better service delivery and good governance. Well, earlier this week, police in Bindura denied the performance of the play at Chapazi bus terminals, claiming that the work was political. Lesley Moyo from Rooftop Promotions joins me now. Thank you for joining us, Lesley. Could you tell us a bit more about this incident?
We have a play called The Coup. It premiered at Theatre in the Park this year, and we decided to take it on a national tour. And so we were supposed to have a performance in Bindura on Monday. And before that, we had approached the censorship board to get a certificate to clear the play, and we managed to get a certificate. And so, according to the Public Order and Security Act in Zimbabwe, if you're organizing a public gathering, you have to seek clearance from the police. So we also approached the police, and they gave us clearance for the play to go ahead. But when we got to the venue, which was about midday on Monday, to prepare for the performance, they then approached us and told us that we can't perform because the play is political. So we were amazed because they have not yet seen the performance. So we wondered how they could then judge that it was political, yet they have not been exposed to the product.
Surely this play was going to provide a lot of jobs for people, Lesley, as it's on a national tour.
Yes, it's supposed to tour most of the provinces in Zimbabwe. And besides also the actors, we have other people that assist us in terms of putting together the performances nationally. And so obviously they've also been affected by this I don't want to use the word ban because it hasn't been banned, but by this a small problem that we have with police.
Do you think this is going to affect the Zimbabwean theatre and its development?
It really affects it because we have a body, like the censorship board is the authority in terms of when it comes to any work that comes out of Zimbabwe. So once they give it green light, we expect other players like the police, maybe other agents within our structure to participate. But what is happening here is really worrying because also earlier this year, another play by another a production house was also banned. And also for Rooftop, this is the second time since the formation of the GNU that we have had a brush with the police. Our play called Rituals was a problems where the cast was arrested, and although we went on to win the case in the courts, but it's worrying that when such work which is meant to benefit Zimbabweans is stopped.
So Lesley, according to your own views, does this play have any political views that you think would affect the government and the police?
I think they were scared by the title of the play, which is called The Coup. So they were asking what coup do you want to stage in Zimbabwe. But basically it's a play that is about dead bodies who are in a mortuary, who then rise up and then they start telling each other stories about how they ended up in mortuary. So it generally looks at issues of service delivery, like our hospitals well equipped, are the nurses, are the doctors there, issues of employment, can people get jobs in Zimbabwe, and so the writer of the play then just used dead bodies to bring to fore issues of service delivery, issues of good governance in Zimbabwe.
Thank you very much, Lesley. That was Lesley Moyo in Harare. But now it's time for Liam and Michael to tell us about last night's Premier League games.
Yes, indeed. There were in fact 8 games in the Premier League last night. And we're going to start with Chelsea. Rafael Benitez, who we've mentioned didn't have the easiest start to his campaign as Chelsea manager, being roundly booed by his fans at their game against Manchester City, well, I'm afraid he's not done himself any more favours, only managing a 0-0 draw at home to South London rivals Fulham. Well, Benitez came out with some rather strange comments after the game, where he said he's very confident that Chelsea will in fact win the league. They're not going to win the league, are they, Mike?
Well, not at the rate they're going. Definitely, even third and fourth is going to be hard for them.
Well, they flattered to deceive really, Chelsea. They are up to third place, but that's only because West Brom lost to Swansea. But they're 7 points off leaders Manchester United. And whilst Roberto Di Matteo, as Chelsea manager, was maybe criticised because they conceded too many, they certainly played an attractive brand of football, didn't they? And surely the fans won't want 0-0 draws every week.
The fans were in love with Di Matteo, and for them to get Benitez instead is kind of like a raw deal for them. If I was a Chelsea fan, I would feel aggrieved as well.
Well, it was another 0-0 draw. I know you remember last weekend we brought you countless 0-0 draws, although I'm pleased to say for most ATV viewers will notice Michael Mavo has finally got some notes on his sheet, which means there are goals to come. But our next game wasn't a thriller either. Arsenal and Everton. Well, there were goals in it, just one apiece. Arsenal took the lead after just 90 seconds with Theo Walcott, who is still in contract negotiations with Arsenal, proving his worth, scoring with a deflected strike very early on. But it's been Mr. Everton of the year, Fellaini, who scored again. He's got 7 goals for the team so far. He's got a really nice curled finish, but then the game sort of just petered out and it almost seemed like both teams were happy with the 1-1 result. Although, in fairness, Everton had the better chances late on, and David Moyes did say he was disappointed that his side didn't win it. It was a frustrating game for both sides, but as an Arsenal fan, going to Everton, a point is a good result, isn't it?
A point is a good result. If my memory serves me correct, United did lose at Everton.
I had a feeling you might bring that one up.
And the question will be, will this man still be at Everton come next season?
Well, Fellaini, you've got to give him credit where a lot of footballers don't tell anyone anything real. He has just openly said that he sees his future away from Everton, but it's really a question of how soon. There's going to be a lot of clubs coming in for him in January, isn't there?
And definitely. Maybe Everton will do just about enough to keep him till the end of the season, but come next season, yeah.
So what team do you think in the Premiership would most benefit from having a player like Fellaini?
Any team. He's that type of a player who brings something different to the game. Chelsea would definitely benefit because they need a tall, big, strong lad up front in the Didier Drogba mode who can hold on to the ball when they decide to go route one.
Okay, well, that result sees Arsenal stay down in just 7th place, and it's not been the best start to the season for them. From 7th to 1st, Manchester United maintain their place at the top of the table with a rather nervy 1-0 win against West Ham United. As we mentioned yesterday on ATV, West Ham are easily the best of the promoted side, sit in 8th place, and they've had a really good start to the season, and it caused Man United some real problems. That was after this man, Robin van Persie, scored a deflected strike, again like Walcott, in just the first minute of the game. It was for the first time in a long time actually that United have scored first. Normally, of course, they let another team can score before they go on a bit of a rampage, and again the game sort of petered out. But as Alex Ferguson has said, it's the 1-0 games that win you leagues, so 3 points is 3 points, and they'll be happy with that.
They'll be very happy with that. 3 points for the champions is, like you say, 3 points.
And West Ham, a quick word about them, they've had a really good start. They can be confident of staying up and getting mid-table.
Yeah, West Ham played really well and they deserved at least a point off the match, but unfortunately it didn't work out for them.
And this man, he can't stop scoring, can he? Is he going to be the top scorer in the league this season?
He will be just about up there, but you have other players who are outscoring him at the moment, because this is like his first goal in about 3-4 games. So he's had a bit of a dry spell, but when he does start scoring, he usually gets 2 or 3 a match.
Okay, well, with Manchester United winning, it was essential for Manchester City to match their points total, and they did that with what turned out to be quite a comfortable win away at Wigan, although in the first half you wouldn't have guessed it that way. It was 0-0 at half time, and Wigan had the better chances, but as champions do, they clawed it back. Mario Balotelli, who had been basically a passenger for the entire game, skipped in when Ali Al-Habsi, the Omanian goalkeeper of Wigan, unfortunately spilled the ball and he fired it home. But the real cracking goal of the game was this man, James Milner, who lined up a 25-yard pile driver into the top corner. What a goal that was.
It was a fantastic goal by Milner. It shows the strength and depth that City have. They can bring him on as a sub. They've got also the fantastic first 11 in the team.
And this kept them 1 point behind Manchester United. Now, we know not this weekend, the weekend after, it is the big Manchester derby at the City of Manchester Stadium. How's that one going to go? Because it's going to be crucial, isn't it, for the rest of the season?
It is going to be very crucial. I put it at City winning.
Is that got anything to do with me being a United fan?
No, nothing to do with you. Basically, City are picking up form at the right moment in time, whereas United are still stuttering along, even though they are getting the 3 points, but it's like their defense is pretty weak. So City will put a few goals.
But we decided, last weekend on ATV that it's City and United in a 2-horse race. So it sounds to me like you're saying City are favourites for the league.
Not favourites for the league. I'm saying City are favourite for that match. The league is far from over. We're just getting to December.
Okay, well, we'll of course bring you all the previews of that big Manchester derby nearer to the time. What about Spurs versus Liverpool, or as it's being redubbed, the Gareth Bale show? Bale was involved in absolutely everything that happened in this game. We've already talked about what a fantastic player the Welsh winged wizard is. He set up the first goal with a great cross for Aaron Lennon to score. Then he scored a great free kick that outfoxed the Liverpool keeper Pepe Reina. But it's the last goal that everyone's talking about, where unfortunately for him, a corner came in, there was a right mix-up, and his compatriot Lennon smashed the ball into his face, only to rebound into his own net. It seems even scoring own goals is something he does brilliantly. I mean, what a player Gareth Bale is, right?
He is a fantastic player. Before the match, they were saying he's never scored 3 goals in a row. Well, this time he scored 4 goals in a row.
Yeah, and a quick word on that own goal. Is it one of the more hilarious own goals you've seen? There's nothing he could do about it, is there?
Absolutely nothing, because the ball was just whacked to his face, and if he didn't score then, it would have been one of the worst misses ever.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
All joking aside, that result leaves Spurs up in 5th place. They're starting to play well under Villas-Boas now, aren't they?
They are playing well, but do they have what it takes to maintain that form? Because they've done this before. They've started really well, suddenly stopped, start, stop. It's that form that puts them to that 3rd spot or that 4th spot.
And Liverpool dropped down to 12th place. I feel like I'm asking you the same questions again, but are they going to give Rodgers enough time? Because 12th place is not good enough, is it?
Surprisingly, Liverpool actually played well during this match, and they had the better chances in the second half. It's just that they started really slowly. And as well, for any manager coming into an already established team, he has to bring in his own authority. Whereas at Liverpool, you have the likes of Carragher, Gerrard, all those guys. Do they still... Well, they have significant influence in the dressing room, but do they sway how the team plays? Is it going to be like the way Chelsea function, where they have Terry as the leader. They have is it Lampard as well as one of the main guys who makes the decision there. So sometimes when a new coach comes in, he needs a new set of ideas, new faces, everything.
Well, I think all football fans, particularly who watched Swansea last season, know that Rodgers is a good manager, so we hope he gets the time that he deserves. We're going to finish with a look at the Premier League table midweek. Now, as we mentioned, Manchester United sit top of the table with their City rivals just 1 point below them. We've said that's the way it's going to stay. Are Chelsea the only team that can get anywhere near them, it would seem?
Chelsea will still stay just about there. It's definitely a two-horse race. I don't see much changing there.
Okay, well, we talked about Spurs. They're up into 5th, just 3 points behind. It's a bit ominous for West Brom, isn't it? We've got to be realistic. They're not going to hang on to 4th place, are they?
West Brom are not going to hang on to 4th. Either Arsenal, between these 3 teams.
Okay, and finally, a word about Swansea, who in fact beat West Brom last night. And after a bit of a sluggish start under new manager Michael Laudrup, they're doing really well in 8th, aren't they?
Yes, they are. A mid-table finish for Swansea will just about do them right at the moment.
Okay, well, we're going to be back tomorrow already on your screens for another preview of this weekend's Premier League games. The games are coming thick and fast, and we'll have all the pre-match build-up. So we'll see you then.
Today's photo of the day is this great family picture sent in by Mochezi Abel. Keep sending your photos to our ATV Facebook page, and you could be on the show tomorrow. Thank you for watching ATV News, and have a good evening.